Okay, it is my last week in Bordeaux. My last week. It's actually been 5 weeks now that I've been here, which is crazy. It just goes so quickly, you know? But then I think back to Paris, I think back to Lyon and going on holiday around Lyon, and I think back to the times I've had in Bordeaux, and I've done so much. It's really weird how your brain works that way. Anyway, this is all wildly irrelevant. You may have noticed I'm in the park again, by the way. My housemates are very musical and are doing a sort of gig practice at the moment in the flat, which is great. I love listening to it. Does make it difficult to film though, unfortunately. So this week's update. I've had a really good week with my French this week. I feel like I'm on the cusp of a turning point. Is that a phrase? I don't know, maybe I've invented that. What I mean is though that I've got a lot more confident this week, I think. I've got a lot more fluid and spontaneous with some of the basic conversations that you might want to have. For example, I can come back from school now and I can explain what I did, I can explain what was good and bad. I only really have to put a huge amount of effort in when it's the nuance, when I need to explain exactly what it is that somebody said that made us laugh, you know? It's been particularly fun this week actually because I've met a lot of new French people this week. And that's been great because every time you meet a brand new French person, you get to kind of pretend that you can speak French to them because they don't know that you're learning. Or, well, I'm usually introduced as, oh, this is Tom, he's from London. So straight away they know that I am not supposed to speak French. But like you're sitting there and you're like 4 or 5 sentences into your conversation and like everything's going well and you're like, ha, this person has no idea that I could not have done this last week. But all of this is a little bit bittersweet because on the one hand I'm doing well in my French, but on the other hand I know that I'm leaving soon. I'm gonna have to leave all of my friends, and I've been making loads of new friends this week as well, which is awful timing because I'm gonna end up hanging out with them for like 7 days and then leaving, right? For example, there was this tour that the mayor of Bordeaux organised to welcome all the new students to Bordeaux. Like real students, by the way, like students who go to university, not people like me who just go to like the Alliance Française. But the Alliance Française people did get invited and there was a poster up saying that we could come and we could sign up and blah blah blah. So I went along to this thing and met loads of new people, loads of new students, like Erasmus people, master's students, and it was really great. We spent the whole day, we signed up for a wine and food tour, and we spent the whole day wandering around the town. A lot of walking actually. I was absolutely knackered by the end of the day, but really nice to meet those guys. And we did the tour on the Saturday and then we hung out on the Sunday and the Monday, and today it's Tuesday and we just went for lunch with them as well. Like, it's really nice and horribly timed because it's now 5 days until I leave. This tour, by the way, let me tell you about this tour because it was ridiculous. It was billed as a wine and food tour, and at no point did we drink any wine or eat any food the entire time. Anyway, so we start going on this tour and it quickly becomes apparent that they're not actually going to feed us, they're just going to show us interesting places where one could get food. Like the tour was, oh, here's a very famous restaurant that you might be interested in, here's an interesting market that's open on the weekend, blah blah blah. But we didn't actually go into any of these things, we were just shown that they existed. But the wine thing was the worst because we knew we were going to the Cité du Vin right at the end, which is this wine history museum with like tasting rooms and all that sort of stuff. So we took the tram up there and we're greeted by this tour guide. They're taking us around the building, they're taking us around where all the tasting rooms are, showing us this really cool museum and telling us about wine. And we ended up doing a tour of the whole building, and then we're walking past the wine tasting rooms and she goes, well, thank you very much for coming, it's been lovely to have you, we'll see you next time, bye. And that was it. And then we were shown to the gift shop, and then that was it. No wine tasting or anything. It was a complete con, basically. I do think it was mainly our group though, because son, bollocks. So this is why you should never have musical housemates, because it means that you have to faff around with light settings all the time when you're filming outside. Anyway, so other groups did have it better. Some other groups actually made it to a whole different wine museum to the one that we went to. They went to an extra museum on top of all the others because they were just being much more efficient in their tour, and they did get to drink some wine at their wine tasting. And the reason ours didn't work like that is because the main dude who was taking us on this tour was definitely trying to get with another girl who was running a different tour, because it was so obvious. He kept on deliberately making our tour go slightly around the houses, and then we would bump into this other girl's tour group and he'd be like, oh my god, it's you, crazy, oh, how you doing, oh, should we walk together for a bit, and then completely ditch our group and just go and chat with this girl for ages. We had this whole story in our head about how like he really didn't care about doing the tour, and like maybe she studies tourism and like he just wanted to try and be cool and be like, oh no, I like doing tours as well, you know, why don't we go on a date sometime. We had this whole story that we'd worked out in our head about this guy. Even though it was very inconvenient for us and we didn't get any wine all day, I enjoyed the sort of drama of this man slowly trying to drag like 20 people around Bordeaux. Anyway, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was my plan up until Christmas. You might remember that I wasn't sure if I was going to go to Marseille or if I was going to go to Montpellier. And what I have decided since then is that I'm actually going to go to neither of those and completely create a whole new plan. Basically, the very weekend I was supposed to swap from Toulouse to Marseille/Montpellier, my sister got in touch and asked if I wanted to go and do a few days having a holiday with her in the Netherlands. But then I remembered that also the following weekend after that I was supposed to be going to Munich to go to a gig with one of my friends from the UK. So I have bought an Interrail ticket for a sort of 5 days and 15 Interrail ticket, and I'm going to leave Toulouse at the end of October and take a train all the way up to Rotterdam, spend some time in Rotterdam with Mary, go to Utrecht, spend some time there, and then go to Cologne for a few days, and then Munich for a few days for this gig, and then this is the important bit. Do I come back to Marseille or do I come back to Montpellier? And I don't know if you know where Munich is and where Marseille, Montpellier are, but there's basically some huge mountains in the way, which makes it very inconvenient to take a train from one to the other. And I realized that instead, Strasbourg is much easier to get to. It takes about 4 hours to get to Strasbourg compared to about 12, literally 12 or 13. So now I have decided to just drop everything and go to Strasbourg, which is apparently this beautiful city. It's loads of history, it's like a mix of French and German culture, cuisine, food, all that sort of stuff. And it has the oldest Christmas market in the whole of France as well, which will be great. So it'll be really nice, really Christmassy, hopefully really snowy. So a bit of a change of plan, but I genuinely think it's gonna turn out really nicely. I like Christmas, I like snow, I like German things, and I like French, so I feel like it's everything I want all in one place. But in the meantime, I am going to Toulouse this Saturday, so the next vlog that you see I will probably be in Toulouse. So remember to subscribe if you want to see all my videos from those trips coming up straight into your newsfeed. There'll be a button, actually you know what, there'll be a button right here. I'm getting so professional at this now, this is great. So click there if you want to subscribe. I'm also getting really bad at doing my sign-offs and actually using my words. Okay, thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, bye.